Midnight Bonded. Written exclusively for Romance Audiobooks - Love. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved.
Hello, beautiful listeners. I'm so grateful you found your way here. This story is a little different from my others. It's a Why Choose Romance, a request from one of you, and I'm so honored to finally share it. I should warn you, it comes in 2 parts. My poor computer can't handle long-form recordings anymore, and full disclosure, I ran out of time, but I didn't want to make you wait any longer. Please know this. Every story I create is stitched together with love, late-night obsession, too much coffee, and a heart that refuses to let these supernatural worlds go. Your presence, your likes, your comments, your messages means more to me than I can express. You're the reason these stories keep growing, the reason they breathe. So settle in, get comfortable, let your heart loosen just a little, because we're about to step into a world of wolves, destiny, forbidden touch, and a love pulled tight between fate and choice. Now, let's begin. Prologue. The forest isn't quiet tonight. It's hungry, listening. 2 heartbeats move through the dark, neither mine, pulling at something deep in my chest I never meant to share. One presence wraps the night in heat and storm, the kind of strength my body leans toward before my mind can stop it. The other glides through the trees like a cold breath against my neck, curious, tempting, dangerous in ways I can't name. I stand at the cliff's edge, moonlight trembling on the river below, trying to steady the ache their nearness ignites. My pulse betrays me, answering both. I don't turn when their footsteps approach from opposite sides of the clearing. If I look at one or the other, I'm afraid of what I'll want. Their scents hit me, spice and thunder colliding with winter air, and the truth cuts clean. I'm already tangled, already claimed by 2 fates I don't understand. And soon, I won't be able to run from either. Chapter 1. The first time I smelled spice and death, it was him. Warm, wild, and too damn dangerous. The sky over Hollow End didn't roll the way normal storms did. It prowled. Clouds crawled over the hills like a living thing, dragging lightning across their bellies in jagged, clawed streaks. Wind rattled the sign above my shop as I locked the last display case, the old hinges whining like they disapproved of me staying late. I didn't blame them. No one sane lingered in Hollow End after dark. But the shop, my shop, was the last human-owned bookstore left in town, and I wasn't about to let superstition and gossip run me out. Not when it had taken every scrap of savings, every bit of stubbornness, every ounce of nerve I had to open it. Still, tonight the storm felt wrong, too sharp, too aware. I was reaching for the front lights when the door eased inward with a soft, ghostly whisper. I turned and froze. He filled the doorway like a threat wrapped in human skin. Broad shoulders blocked half the storm behind him, rain sliding down a dark leather jacket stretched across a chest sculpted by some malicious being. His hair, long enough to brush his collar, was wet and wild from the wind. And his eyes dragged fingertips down my spine. Predator stillness, predator hunger. Treaty or not, every instinct in my human body screamed run, but my stupid feet, frozen, rooted, useless. He stepped inside with a grace that didn't fit his size, movement meant for the hunt. The bell above the door chimed once, too soft beneath the pounding of my pulse. Lightning flared at his back, carving out the harsh line of his jaw, the bridge of a nose straight as a blade, and the faintest scar trailing from his cheekbone to the corner of his mouth. His mouth, which, unfairly, looked like sin shaped into a smirk. The storm slammed the door shut behind him. The sound jolted me into motion. "Storm's coming. Supposed to get really wet," I blurted, though my voice betrayed me. Too soft, too aware. I cleared my throat, but it didn't strengthen. Really, really wet. Perfect. Excellent. Why not just tattoo desperate across my forehead? One corner of his mouth curved. Not quite a smile. Something darker. Knowing. Is that so? Heat curled low in my belly, treacherous and warm. I shoved one of my store guides at him. Here, this is a map of the sections. Take your time, browse around, or not, whatever you like. He took the pamphlet, gaze flicking down at the paper as if humoring a very confused creature. Our fingers brushed, and the world stuttered. A spark? No, a slice, shot through me. Electric, hot, intimate, not attraction. Something deeper, like muscle memory, like recognition. His nostrils flared, slow and deliberate. His pupils thinned. Hungry. You smell. His voice dropped into something velvet dark. Wrong for a human. My breath hitched. What does that mean? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped close. Closer than strangers ever should, until the heat radiating off him crashed into me like a wave. His scent wrapped around me, smoke and spice and something feral. He dipped his head, inhaling near my cheek. So close I felt the whisper of his lips along my skin. The tingling that followed wasn't fear. His eyes warmed to gold, glowing with the unmistakable wolf light. Your heartbeat, he murmured. It's singing to me. My pulse kicked so hard I felt it in my fingertips. Outside, thunder cracked against the windows, shaking the shelves. But he didn't flinch. His attention locked on me with unsettling intensity. Look, I think you should maybe step back, I whispered. He didn't. Something shifted, like a chain snapping from a machine. His pupils narrowed to razor-thin slits. A growl rolled through him, not meant to scare me, meant for something else. They'll come for you now. Ice spilled down my spine. Who will? He lifted his head just enough that his jaw brushed mine. His breath was warm against my cheek. Every wolf who catches your scent, every damn one of them who wants what I just tasted on your skin. My knees nearly buckled. Heat flared through me. I didn't ask you to taste anything. Sweetheart, he murmured, the word stroking low in my stomach. You didn't have to. You walk around, bleeding temptation. I'm not a sweetheart. My name is Yasin, I breathed. And I'm human. His gaze dragged down my neck again. Not enough. Not anymore. My stomach flipped. Because the way he said it, it sounded less like an insult and more like a truth I wasn't ready to understand. The lights flickered. Once, twice. The air pressure dipped. The storm outside hushed for a heartbeat, like it was listening. He went still. Damn it, he muttered. Too close. What? He angled his body between me and the door, protective, purposeful. The shift in him was too instinctive to be anything but wolf. They got here faster than I thought. Who? A low howl cut through the night outside. The sound vibrated the floorboards. My bones. I slapped a hand over my mouth to stop the scream clawing at my throat. Another howl, then another. Thunder tore the sky open. The street lamp flickered, then blew out with a violent pop. The shop went dark, save for flashes of lightning. He looked back at me, eyes fully gold now, glowing. When that door moves, he said, voice deepening into command, don't scream. The handle turned. Slow. Testing. He stepped forward, placing himself like a shield. My breath hitched. The handle jerked again. His voice dipped into a growl. Stay behind me. I backed up until my shoulder hit a bookcase. Pages trembled. So did I. Lightning carved his profile in silver blue. Jaw tight, body coiled. The handle twisted a third time. Then, the door pushed open an inch. Cold air slid in like a blade. He didn't look back as he growled, whatever you do, don't run. The storm swallowed the rest of the world, and the wolves came. Chapter 2. The handle jolted again, hard enough to rattle the wood, not like a hand turning it, like claws testing the barrier. The wolf stepped forward without hesitation, his body angling between me and the door, with a protectiveness that felt too instinctive, too practiced. A quiet snarl vibrated beneath his skin, like he was arguing with instincts he'd spent years caging. The air around him sharpened as if a storm lived just under the surface. I pressed myself behind a tall shelf of mythology books, heart hammering hard enough to bruise my ribs. The door eased open just an inch. Cold air slipped inside, and a voice followed, low, smooth, amused in a way that made my skin crawl. You found her first, Hardwood. Lucky you. Hardwood? The name clicked into place. Milan Hardwood. Was it really him? The Alpha King? Even humans whispered about him. A wolf who'd never lost a challenge. A wolf rumored to fight so fast, his opponents didn't realize they'd already lost until they hit the ground. So, if that was Milan, why did the man in the doorway act like he wasn't impressed? The man stepped inside, shaking rain from pale hair that clung to his sharp cheekbones. Lightning flared behind him, illuminating eyes that gleamed like moonlit glass. Too calm for the chaos outside. Milan moved instantly, blocking the threshold with the full breadth of his body. The shelves seemed to shrink around him. His voice dropped, deep, rough, threaded with a growl that vibrated through the floor. Back off, Farron! Farron's eyes warmed with cruel amusement. Relax. If I wanted your crown, I'd take it. This isn't about you. His gaze flicked past Milan, straight to where I hid. My pulse kicked hard. Farron inhaled, slow and deep. Then he smiled. There she is. A shiver shot through me. Milan didn't let Farron take a single step closer. One moment, Farron was in view. The next, Milan was fully between us, shielding me as if by reflex. Don't! Even! Look at her! Milan snarled. Farron raised his brows. You can't hide that scent, Hardwood. It's everywhere. What scent? I whispered. Neither of them answered. Farron tilted his head, still staring at me with unsettling fascination. She's waking. The words scraped across my nerves. What does that mean? Someone tell me. Their silence told me I wasn't ready for the truth. Farron stepped deeper into the shop, dripping rainwater across the floor. You know what's funny? You might actually win a fight with me tonight, one-on-one. He smirked. But you're not fighting me. A howl split the night outside, low, dragging, hungry. Another answered, then another. The air vibrated with it. Farron's expression sharpened. I'm not the only one who wants her, Hardwood. Milan didn't move. And you can't protect her from all of us, not while she's awakening. Awakening? The same word he used in the shop when he scented me. The same heat that had flared under my skin. A chill rolled down my spine. Farron breathed the last word like a promise. She doesn't even know what she is yet. My panic surged so fast the room blurred. I'm human! Not enough, Farron murmured. Lightning ripped across the sky, blinding white. For a second I saw the silhouettes outside the window line. Wolves, dozens, surrounding the shop. Farron's eyes gleamed. Listen to them. They felt her spark. My what? I whispered. Milan gritted his teeth, a low growl tearing from his throat. You're the Veinborn, Farron continued softly, the one our kind lost centuries ago. The storm outside seemed to pause, listening. Milan's snarl was pure threat. That's enough. Farron shuddered. Actually shuddered. With excitement. His breath hitched, chest rising like he was inhaling destiny itself. She is the kingmaker, he rasped, spittle catching at the corner of his mouth as his smile split too wide, too hungry. His pupils blew wide, swallowing the color from his eyes. The Veinborn, the one who turns power into fate, and whoever she chooses. He leaned forward, voice trembling with a feverish thrill. Where's the crown? Farron. Milan's voice cracked like thunder. Back! Away! Farron didn't move. If anything, he vibrated. Alive with mania. Drunk on prophecy. a predator who'd finally scented the future and wanted to tear into it. Farron inhaled again, deeper this time. He murmured, eyes half-lidded. Her scent. It's almost complete. Heat pulsed in my veins, hot, sudden, overwhelming. I gasped, clutching my chest as something flickered beneath my skin. A glow? A spark? A heartbeat that wasn't mine? Milan whipped around, eyes widening. Yasin? His scent hit me first, wild spice and storm air, and everything inside me tightened in a way I couldn't explain. Farron watched me tremble, with something like hunger. Oh yes, they'll chase that. The lights flickered once, twice, then died. The door exploded inward. Wolves surged through the threshold, massive beasts with rain-slick fur and eyes glowing silver white. They dropped low, snarling, crowding the ruined doorway. Farron didn't move. Bring her to me. Over my dead body, Milan growled. That's the idea, Farron said simply. Milan stepped in front of me again, teeth bared. Don't listen to him. He's desperate. Farron snorted. Please, you think she won't find out? You think you can hide that from her too? Milan's growl deepened. Farron tilted his head, eyes gleaming. Should I tell her, brother? Or will you? My breath caught. Brother? Milan stiffened. Farron answered for him. Half-brothers, 2 mothers, 1 bloodline. He smiled. Slow. Wicked. Both born to lead, only one meant to win? Maybe. Milan always had a problem with sharing. Milan snapped. Farron, shut your mouth. Why? Farron murmured, gaze sliding to me. She deserves the truth. We are bound by blood, by lineage, by fate, and she stands at the center of the thing we were both raised to fight for. Milan growled, stepping closer. I said enough. We're brothers, Farron finished softly, eyes locked on mine, and you were never meant to choose him. At his words, something inside me ignited. A searing pulse shot down my spine. My vision flooded with silver light. My fingertips sparked. My breath caught on something ancient. The wolves stumbled back, whining. Milan staggered, stunned. Farron's smile widened. Yes, he hissed. Finally, I fell to my knees, shaking as silver fire raced through my blood. Milan lunged to my side, grabbing my shoulders, forcing my gaze to his. Yasin, look at me. Breathe. Stay with me. I tried. Farron watched like a man, witnessing prophecy. Get her out, brother, before she burns up. Run. I'll catch you eventually. Milan's snarl could have broken stone. Not in this lifetime. He swept an arm under my legs and lifted me against his chest. My head fell against him, his heartbeat frantic beneath my cheek. Outside, wolves clawed at the windows, shadows crowding the glass. Milan turned toward the back door. The pack howled as one. Hold on, he breathed into my hair, voice raw, terrified. I'm not losing you. And then he ran, carrying me into the storm as the wolves crashed through the shop behind us. Chapter 3. The storm chased us across the graveyard like a living thing, wind clawing at my hair, rain slicing across Milan's shoulders as he carried me through the iron gates and into the shadows of the ruined church a mile outside of town. Lightning lit the shattered steeple, windows gaped open, glass long gone, the stone walls slick with moss and old secrets. Milan kicked the warped wooden door until it groaned inward. The smell of dust and cold stone rushed out to meet us. He set me down behind a fallen column, the shadow sheltering me from the open doorway. I clutched my arms tight to my chest. Why here? Old sanctuary, he said, scanning every corner, every broken pew. These places remember the vein. They slow wolves down. Slow, I echoed. Not stop. Nothing stops a pack. Milan's voice dropped to a dark rumble. But it buys us minutes. Minutes. When an entire valley was hunting me. My breath came too fast, fogging in the cold air. Milan turned to me, wet hair falling into his eyes, chest rising sharply, Every line of him taut from running, fighting, protecting. His expression was carved from tension and something more volatile. That something reached for him. Warm, magnetic, instinctual, like my pulse moved toward his without asking permission. Yasin. He crouched in front of me. I need you to tell me what happened back there. I shook my head. I don't know. You felt something, he insisted, voice sharp with urgency. The light, the burn, the shift in your pulse. I don't have answers, my voice cracked. I'm human. He inhaled, like that word physically hurt him. His jaw flexed, the tendons in his neck tightening. Your blood says otherwise. I pressed back against the stone, shaking. I don't know anything. Why would I lie? He moved suddenly, both hands braced on the column beside my head, caging me in, not trapping, anchoring, like he was keeping himself from flying apart. You think I want this? His voice was raw, breath unsteady. You think I wanted you to awaken tonight, for Farron to scent you, before you even understood what you are? His jaw clenched. You think I wanted to pull you into this war? I'm telling you the truth, I whispered. I don't know anything. I don't remember anything. His forehead dropped to the stone beside me, eyes squeezed shut. Rainwater dripped from his lashes, trailing down his cheek. When he exhaled, it shook through his entire body. Finally, he pulled back. Then listen, he said quietly. He lowered himself beside me, his back against the same pillar, his shoulder brushing mine. He wasn't injured, but he was exhausted, on edge. His breaths came slow and uneven, like he was wrestling a storm inside his ribs. I wrapped my arms tighter around myself. Malian noticed. Without a word, he shrugged off his rain-soaked jacket and wrapped it around my shoulders, tugging it close with rough, gentle fingers. My hands shook as I held it closed. He hesitated, then took my trembling hands in his, steadying them, steadying me. Breathe, he murmured. The tremor eased enough for me to pull in air. What's happening to me? I whispered. Milan's jaw tightened. The truth is older than either of us. Lightning flared overhead, illuminating the cracked altar. The vein, he said, voice deepening into something reverent, once bound wolves and humans together, not as enemies, as kin, as equals. He paused, eyes distant. There were those born with the power to tie our fates, to heal, to connect, to choose leadership. They were rare, sacred. My pulse thudded. And I'm one of them? You're the last of them, he said softly. The Veinborn. The word vibrated through the church walls. I'm nobody, I whispered. You're the spark that can unite us again, Milan said, or give someone the right to claim rule over every wolf left breathing. The weight of it dropped onto my chest like stone. And Farron? I whispered. Milan's eyes darkened. He wants your choosing. I swallowed. Because I choose the king. Because, he said quietly, your choice is the crown. He said it as a confession he hated giving voice to. Then something in him shifted, reluctance giving way to necessity. Farron and I, we were raised to compete, he said, raised to tear at each other for a crown. Before I could speak, a chill crawled up my spine. Because thinking of Farron didn't repulse me. It tugged, different from Milan's warmth, sharper, colder, like a wire pulled tight inside my ribs. Two opposite gravities, one soul caught between them, before either of us could say another word. A low growl rolled across the graveyard outside, then another, closer, circling. Milan stiffened instantly, his wolf rising beneath his skin. He rose to his feet, pulling me behind him as shadows moved through the broken windows, the air filled with the sound of claws scraping stone. They tracked us, he growled. Chapter 4. A heavy weight slammed against the outer doors. Wood groaned, the hinges shrieked. Another slam, harder. The dust above us shivered loose. Milan glanced over his shoulder at me, eyes blazing gold. Stay behind me, no matter what." The doors shuddered a final time under the wolves' weight. Milan didn't wait for them to splinter. "Move," he whispered, gripping my wrist and pulling me deeper into the shadows of the church. "What about the entrance?" "We're not using the entrance." A crack split the air as claws tore through the old wood. Splinters flew across the stone floor. My pulse stuttered. "Milan." He swung me behind him again, instinctual, protective to the point of pain. "Keep your voice low." "But—" "Yasin," he murmured, dangerously calm, his wolf right beneath his skin. "If they hear you panic, they will push harder." In the flickering lightning, I caught a glimpse of the wolves forcing their heads through the widening gaps in the doors, eyes glowing, teeth bared. Milan didn't flinch. He led me toward the back of the church, weaving through fallen columns and broken pews. As we reached the remnants of the sacristy, he dropped to one knee near a collapsed portion of wall. A hole, small, half swallowed by vines and rubble. "We're crawling through that," I whispered. "It's narrow. Wolves won't fit." A pause. "And it leads outside the old wards." Another slam shook the church. Milan pressed 2 fingers to the base of my spine. "Go." "What about you?" "I'll be right behind you." Lightning flashed across his face. Wild golden eyes, clenched jaw, rain-slick hair. He looked like sin and war and desperation, the kind of desperation that meant he would die before he let them touch me. "Go," he repeated, voice low. I dropped to my hands and knees and crawled into the tunnel of stone and roots. The space was barely wide enough for my shoulders. My elbows scraped rough rock. Outside, the storm thundered. Behind me, wolves snarled. Wood complained. Milan's voice rose in a guttural command. Then the doors collapsed. A roar of wolves flooded the church. Milan hissed through his teeth. "Yasin, faster!" I dragged myself through the hole, lungs tight, throat closing. Dirt smeared my fingers. Roots tugged at my clothes. I could hear wolves spilling into the church, heavy paws, snarls, the hot sound of their breath hitting the cold air. Milan entered the tunnel behind me with a hard exhale. The space forced him low, his body brushed close, his heat running along my spine. "Don't look back," he murmured. Something slammed into the wall above us, claws scraping inches from my head. Dust rained down. I froze. Milan's hand touched my ankle, gentle but commanding. "Keep going." I swallowed hard and pushed forward. The tunnel narrowed, the storm above roaring through broken beams like a warning. Milan's breath was quick, audible. "They're trying to dig through." What happens if they—" Don't finish that sentence. We reached the end of the tunnel. I shoved against the slab of stone blocking the exit. It didn't move. Panic surged hot in my chest. It stuck. Milan wedged himself behind me, braced one hand against the stone, and pushed. The slab groaned. "Again," he breathed. We pushed together. The stone shifted. A crack of night air entered. Milan shoved hard, muscles straining, and the slab toppled outward into the rain. Cold wind hit my face. I scrambled out into tall, wet grass, soaked instantly. Milan emerged after me, twisting his body to pull free. The instant he cleared the opening, a wolf in human form slammed into the other side of the tunnel from within. The ground shook. Milan grabbed the stone slab and heaved it back over the entrance. "Run!" We bolted into the storm, through grass, over roots, across the broken path leading away from the church. Wolves howled behind us, their voices splitting the night. "They know we're out," I gasped. "Of course they know," Milan growled, grabbing my hand and dragging me faster. "Your scent lit the entire valley on fire." Rain stung my face. My legs burned. My lungs screamed. Milan never let go of my hand. We reached the tree line just as a shape barreled out of the shadows, massive, all teeth and fur and rage. A wolf? Huge. Too close. I skidded to a stop, slipping on wet leaves. The creature lunged. Milan pulled me back and threw himself between us. snapping his teeth in a sound too wolf to be human. His entire body vibrated with the threat of shifting. His back curved, muscles flexing, a low growl ripping through him. The wolf hesitated. Then another howl rose behind us. Another, closer. "So what now?" I whispered. Milan's jaw set with brutal certainty. "We keep moving." We plunged deeper into the woods, the storm swallowing us whole. Branches whipped my skin. Mud sucked at my shoes. The wind howled through the treetops, carrying the wolves' answering cries. Then, from behind us, the sound changed. Not a howl, not claws, not pursuit. Something heavier, closer, directly against the stone we had shoved back over the tunnel. Milan's breath hitched. "Already?" A loud crack split the night. I turned in horror. The slab of stone we'd used to block the tunnel bulged outward. Then again. Milan grabbed my arm. "Yasin, look at me." I did. His eyes glowed a fierce, unearthly gold. We're not safe yet. Chapter 5. The forest swallowed us. Black trunks, slick leaves, branches twisting overhead like skeletal fingers. Rain hammered the canopy, dripping in cold rivulets down my spine as Milan pulled me deeper, faster, almost too fast for my legs to keep up. Behind us, wolves poured from the church ruins, their howls ripping through the storm. "Stay close," Milan said. Voice low, breath sharp. "They'll try to flank us." "Can't they scent us?" "They can scent everything." His fingers tightened around mine. "But they can't predict your path if your heartbeat stays synced to mine." A howl cut through the trees, closer this time, weaving between the trunks. I stumbled. Milan caught my waist before I hit the ground. "You're lagging," he murmured, pulling me upright. "I'm not." Another howl, closer. Milan's arm locked around me. "Run now. Talk later." He dragged me through a tangle of roots and across a shallow stream. Water splashed up my legs, freezing cold. Over the sound of the rain, I heard paws pounding earth. Leaves shook violently. Branches snapped. They were gaining. "We need higher ground," Milan said. "Wolves lose speed on slopes." "Do you?" He shot me the quickest, grimmest half-smile. "Never." He led me toward a rocky incline, wet stone glistening under the stormlight. My feet slipped, but he hauled me up with impossible strength. A shadow lunged from the brush to our right. A wolf. Huge, leaping straight at us. Milan moved with lightning speed, shoving me behind him. "Down!" I dropped. He met the wolf midair, slamming his forearm into its throat. The beast crashed into a tree, snarling. Milan didn't wait. He grabbed my hand and ran again. "You fought that thing like it weighed nothing," I panted. "I'm stronger when you're near." He said it like a truth he didn't have time to unpack, and like it scared him more than the wolves did. Rain blinded me. The air buzzed with a wrong electric pulse. My chest throbbed with that same strange heat from before, the one that lit my blood from the inside. Milan must have felt it. He stiffened mid-stride. "Yasin!" Another wolf burst through the undergrowth on our left. Milan twisted, scooped me into his arms again, and leapt over a fallen trunk. The wolf's teeth snapped inches from my ankle. Something broke open in my chest. Heat, light, pressure. Milan hissed sharply. "Not now, please, not now." "What?" "Your vein is rising. It's calling to them." The trees thinned. The slope leveled. And before us, a ravine. Wide, dark, water raging at the bottom. I skidded to a stop. "We can't cross that." Milan looked behind us. Wolves flickered through the trees like ghosts. He swallowed hard. "I wasn't planning to cross. What does that—" He pulled me flush to him. "Hold on." Two wolves burst from the shadows behind us, teeth bared. Milan didn't jump, didn't climb, didn't turn. He ran along the ravine's edge, dragging me with him. Breath harsh, feet hammering mud and stone. The slope crumbled away beneath us with every step. One wolf lunged. Milan shifted his grip, swung me out of its reach. And I felt it. The spark. The vein. A surge of silver heat shooting through my veins like fire. The wolf faltered midair, whining, crashing into a tangle of roots. Milan's eyes snapped to me, fear and awe warring in his expression. Yasin, stop! I didn't do anything! You're doing everything, he growled. Your vein reacts to threat, and right now, everything is a threat. Rain crashed down harder. Wolves paced the ravine edge, waiting for us to slip. Milan kept running, every muscle taut, every sense locked on survival. Then, a sound rose above the storm, a howl unlike the others, deeper, richer, commanding. Farron. Milan's breath turned sharp. He's closer than I thought. Fear spiked cold through me, almost drowning the heat in my chest. What do we do? I shouted over the thunder. Milan looked ahead, through the rain, through the trees, through the darkness, as if searching for the slimmest chance of escape. We keep moving. But the fury of the storm swelled. Wolves pressed in from every direction, and the ravine edge began to crumble beneath his feet. Milan tightened his grip on my hand. Behind us, Farron's howl rose again. Closer. And Milan whispered the one truth we couldn't outrun. They're driving us toward him. Chapter 6. The storm chased us through the trees. Howls, lightning, snapping branches. Mud splashed up our legs as Milan pulled me through the forest, jaw tight, eyes burning gold. Then we burst into a small clearing, and Farron stood there, still, soaked, waiting. Rain dripped from his pale hair, sliding down the edge of his jaw. His eyes glowed silver bright in the dark, fixed entirely on me. My chest tightened. The heat answered him before I could stop it. The veins stirred the moment his gaze touched mine. Milan moved in front of me instantly, claws half-formed. Get away from her! Farron didn't look at him. He only stepped forward, slow, deliberate. Then he held out his hand, open, steady, dangerous. Yasin, he murmured, voice like thunder softened at the edges. Come to me. Milan snarled, low and shaking. Over my dead. Yasin, Farron said again, cutting him off. Look at me. I did. I couldn't not. The veins surged, silver heat rising fast beneath my skin, pulsing like it recognized him, like it remembered him, like it wanted. My fingers twitched toward his. Milan's breath broke. Don't! He's pulling on your vein through instinct. You're raw, unshielded. Farron's voice deepened, soft and devastating. I'm not twisting anything. She feels the truth. My heartbeat tripped, because I did feel something. Pulling, humming, undeniable. My voice shook. I don't know why I feel like this. Farron's expression flickered, want, hunger, and something startlingly gentle. Because you weren't alone in the prophecy, he whispered. Your vein was forged alongside ours. Milan stepped between us, trembling with fury. She remembers nothing, and she chooses nothing tonight. His jealousy rolled off him in hot waves, sharp, protective, terrified. Farron's gaze hardened. Then she'll die with you. Before Milan could lunge, the earth groaned under our feet. The ground trembled. Once, twice, violent. Farron's hand jerked toward me, not to claim, but to steady. Yasin, move. I reached for him. Almost. Then the ledge split beneath me. The earth collapsed. Milan lunged, arms locking around my waist. Farron's outstretched hand swiped empty air as the ground tore apart between us, swallowing me and Milan into the ravine below. Yasin! His voice ripped through the storm. We fell. Chapter 7. Milan's grip slipped. The mud under his fingers gave way with a sickening crack. For a heartbeat, we hung in the air. His body braced between me and the cliff edge, muscles trembling, claws digging furrows through crumbling stone. Then the ledge broke. We fell. Wind screamed past us, cold and sharp. The roar of the river rose like a beast beneath us. Rain lashed across my skin in stinging sheets. Malene twisted midair, pulling me tight against him. "I've got you!" he shouted over the storm. But I heard the truth in his voice. Raw, panicked. He didn't know if he did. The world blurred into darkness and motion. I clutched his shirt, fingers digging into soaked fabric. "Milan, I won't let you go!" His arms locked around my waist, his body angled below mine, shielding, protecting. But we were speeding toward the jagged water, too fast, too far, too helpless. Fear surged up my throat. Then something else surged with it. Heat, silver heat. A pulse exploded in my chest, bright, blinding, ancient. My breath caught on a sound that wasn't a scream, but a gasp of something electric ripping through me. My vision flooded white, my skin burned. My veins lit up like fire cracking open my bones. Milan felt it, his eyes snapped to mine. Gold widening in shock. "Yasin?" Light shot from my hands. Not outward, inward, into him. A tether, a pull. Like our breaths were crossing, wrapping, binding. The storm stuttered. The wind bent around us. For a single suspended moment, gravity hesitated. Milan's arms tightened around me. His heartbeat slammed against my ribs, syncing with the wild, impossible rhythm pounding through my body. "Yasin," he whispered, voice breaking open. "Your vein." Another pulse ripped through me, stronger. The world stretched, strings of silver light threading between us, through us, around us. Like the storm was spinning a web only we could see. The river blurred, the cliffs curved, time bent. Then, pain. Ice sharp, slicing through my spine. My body arched. The light burst outward, a shock wave of silver cracking through the air. Malene swore, gripping me tighter. "Stay with me. I can't." "Yes, you can." His voice broke like he was begging the vein itself. Another pulse surged. The world snapped. We weren't falling anymore. We were suspended, hung in midair by threads of shimmering force, the storm parting around us like a curtain. The river churned below, but the vein pulled against it, lifting, resisting. Malene's breath caught. "Moon's mercy!" The light dimmed, flickering. My body buckled. "Milan, what's happening to me?" "You're awakening." His voice was hoarse, reverent, terrified. "You're forcing the fallback. You're manipulating the vein, instinctively." I shook uncontrollably, the last of the energy burning out. "It hurts. I know." His hand rose to my cheek, thumb brushing my jaw with fierce gentleness. "I've got you. Just hold on." But the silver threads began to collapse. The wind rushed back in. Gravity found us. Milan's expression hardened into pure resolve. "When the vein gives out, hold your breath." "What?" We plunged the final distance. Milan turned so his back took the impact, curling his body around mine. We hit the river like stone. Cold exploded through me. Water swallowed everything. Sound, light, breath. I clung to him, my lungs burning, my head spinning. Milan kicked upward, fighting the current. But the river was vicious, flooded with stormwater, raging, dragging us downstream. I lost air. My vision blurred. My limbs felt like stone. Milan's grip tightened, pulling me above water for a second. "Yasin, breathe!" A wave swallowed us again. Darkness closed in. Somewhere above the roar of the river, wolves howled along the cliffs. Somewhere upstream, Farron's voice joined them, low, hungry, triumphant. He had felt the awakening. He had felt me. As the current wrenched Milan's fingers from mine, the last thing I heard before the darkness claimed me was his voice, raw, broken, furious. "Yasin!" Then everything went black. Chapter 8. I woke to heat, not fire, him. My cheek rested on a warm, solid, bare chest. His chest, an arm caged my waist, heavy and protective. His hand splayed over my ribs like he was checking each breath. A wool blanket lay over us, rough but warm. He, like me, wore only underwear. For one suspended moment, I didn't move, didn't breathe, because it felt right. Something stirred at the edge of my senses. Farron's presence, faint, like a hand brushing my mind. A pull I didn't understand. But the second Milan shifted beside me, his warmth pressing into my spine, the sensation vanished, snuffed out, overridden. My vein chose differently in that breath. Then memory snapped back. The river, the cold, the darkness, and I blinked up. The hunting cabin was barely standing. Slats of wood hung over shattered windows. The fire had collapsed into a glow of red embers. The whole place smelled of smoke, wet wood, and wolf. Milan was half sitting against the wall with me wrapped against him like something precious. His eyes opened instantly, snapping to mine. Yasin? His voice cracked on my name. Thank the moon. You're awake. He didn't let go. If anything, his arm tightened, drawing me closer as if my waking somehow threatened to pull me away. You stopped breathing after the river. His jaw flexed. I thought... He swallowed hard. I thought I lost you. The raw fear in his eyes punched something low in my stomach. Milan. It came out softer than I meant. He breathed out like I'd given him back a piece of his soul. His fingers brushed my cheek, slow, reverent, terrified he might break me. Heat curled deep inside me, shamefully relieved he was here, that he'd stayed, that he'd held me through the cold. He leaned in inches from my mouth, waiting, asking without asking. Is this okay? He whispered. He could have taken. He didn't. And maybe that was why I reached up and curled my fingers into his hair, tugging him down. The kiss was soft at first, almost startled. His lips moved against mine like he thought I'd vanish if he pressed too hard. When I exhaled against his mouth, something in him broke loose. His hand slid into my hair. He kissed me deeper, slow, aching, unbearably gentle, afraid of wanting this too much. His other hand framed my waist, fingers brushing bare skin beneath the blanket, pulling me closer until our bodies aligned. I melted into him, and for a heartbeat, long enough to be dangerous, I felt safe. But he didn't stop, and neither did I. His breath hitched when I tugged him closer. The blanket slipped, and the rest of our clothes did as well. Our bodies pressed together, warmth against warmth, the ache between us rising like a tide neither of us could fight. Yasin, he whispered against my throat, voice shaking. Tell me to stop. I didn't, couldn't. The world narrowed to the warmth of him, the way he murmured my name against my throat, the way his touch trembled like he was terrified of losing me again. I shouldn't, he whispered into my skin, voice breaking. Not when you're hurt, not when you don't fully understand what this is. But his forehead pressed to my collarbone, his grip tightening on my hips, told a different truth. You're not hurting me, I said softly. And it was true. I felt more alive than I had since the river, more myself in his arms than I'd ever admit out loud. He exhaled shakily, the sound half surrender. I've waited lifetimes for you, he murmured. His hand slid over my waist, slow, reverent, asking without asking. When I arched into his touch, his restraint snapped like a pulled thread. The cabin faded, the storm, the cold, the danger outside. There was only his breath on my skin, warm, uneven, the press of his body, the desperate tenderness in every movement. He held me as if this wasn't just closeness, as if it was a vow, a claiming neither of us had meant to make, but both of us felt down to bone and blood. We found each other in the dark, in shared heat and whispered promises he probably shouldn't have made, but did anyway. When it was over, he stayed wrapped around me, hands spread over my heart as if guarding it from the world. And for a few quiet minutes, the storm outside felt very far away. Eventually, he shifted, brushing a thumb over the inside of my wrist, tracing slow circles as if memorizing my pulse. "We need to get warm," he murmured, noticing the shiver I tried to hide. He stood and helped me up gently. My legs wobbled, and his hands steadied my hips before he forced himself to let go. Our clothes were hung near the fire, half dry. He turned away as I dressed, polite, disciplined, until he wasn't. I caught him stealing a look. Not lust, not exactly. Something quieter, hungrier, like he wanted proof I was real. We dressed in a silence thick with everything we hadn't said, and then, "Yasin," he said quietly, "there's something you need to know." The tone alone chilled me. Not fear, not danger, something personal. "What is it?" I asked. He hesitated, long enough to terrify me, then looked away. "Well, wolves don't share warmth like that, not unless we're bonding." Bonding. The word felt wrong in my mouth. "What does that mean?" His jaw clenched. "For wolves, it's not casual. What happened between us, it wasn't just comfort. It created a bond, a real one. Your vein chose me." My stomach hollowed. "Milan, are you saying what we did, what we shared, it bound us?" "Yes." One word, final, heavy. The air left my lungs. The room tilted, heat drained from my body as the truth hit. "You should have told me," I whispered. "Yasin, no." The words scraped out of me. "You should have told me before." He flinched, shoulders tightening. "If I had, you would have pulled away." "I had the right to choose," I said, voice cracking. "You took that from me." He reached for me. I stepped back. The rejection hit him like a blow. I saw it, felt it, but the ache in my chest was worse. Raw, hot, consuming. "Yasin, I wasn't trying to trap you." His voice wavered. "I care about you, not the crown." "That doesn't undo what you hid." His mouth opened, closed. He looked gutted. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to hold together the pieces of me that had just shattered. "You said I was everything," I whispered, "but you didn't trust me with the truth." Silence spread between us, wide, breaking, impossible to cross. He stepped toward me. I stepped back. His voice broke. "Please don't run." A howl ripped through the forest, so close the cabin walls trembled. Then another, and another. Milan stiffened. "They found us." He grabbed my arm, gentle, frantic. "Yasin, we have to move." We burst into the rain-soaked forest. Mud splashed beneath our feet as the howls multiplied behind us. "Stay with me," he shouted. But hurt churned inside me. Worse than the fear, worse than the danger. "No," I shouted back. "I can't follow you right now." "Yasin, don't!" But I tore free and sprinted into the trees, branches whipping my face, lungs burning. I didn't stop. Not until someone stepped out of the shadows. Tall, still, eyes glowing silver. Farron, he smiled. Sharp, knowing. Too gentle to be kindness, and far too focused on me to be anything but dangerous. "Little Veinborn," he murmured, extending a hand. His voice slid over my skin like warm smoke, intimate without touching. "What a gift you've brought me." His eyes flicked past me, tasting the bond still alive on my skin. "You smell of him," Farron said softly. He stepped closer, not crowding, but drawing my breath toward him. "And yet, you ran." His presence wrapped around me like heat meeting heat, slow, magnetic, deliberate. Not a pull of force, a pull of recognition. The air between us tightened, alive, as if the vein was leaning toward him without my consent. Farron's gaze lowered to my mouth, not hungrily, but knowingly. like he tasted every unspoken emotion I carried. "There it is," he whispered. "Your truth, the part of you he can't cage." He didn't touch me. He didn't have to. The vein called out, full of heat and just as strong. Chapter 9. "You chose the wrong wolf," Farron said, his voice sliding over my skin like cold metal and quiet fire all at once. His presence swallowed the space between us. Calm, confident, terrifyingly certain. Rain dripped from his hair. The forest held its breath. Then, branches snapped behind me. Milan burst through the trees, soaked, panting, wild fear in his eyes. "Yasin!" He stopped dead when he saw Farron. The sound that ripped from his chest wasn't human. Farron smiled without looking away from me. "Late, brother." "Get away from her," Milan snarled. "Why? You've already lied to her," Farron murmured. "Used her. Claimed a Veinborn without telling her what it means." Milan stiffened, but he didn't deny it. Rain hammered the forest floor. Every shadow shifted. Wolves stepped from the trees, one by one, circling. Red eyes, dozens, a ring, a cage, an audience. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a chase. This was judgment. Farron's voice rose, carrying effortlessly through the storm. Milan violated Vein right. He bound her without her full knowledge, a claim built on deception. Milan growled, "Farron, don't twist!" Farron lifted a hand, silencing even the thunder. Let combat decide the next alpha, but no. His gaze slid to me, then back to Milan. From even that single touch, her power pulled toward me too. A ripple tore through the pack. Wolves roared in agreement. Milan froze. And for an instant, just an instant, his face cracked wide open. Anguish, fear, jealousy so deep it scraped bone. The idea of Farron carrying even a trace of my vein hit him harder than any blow. His throat worked, jaw trembling, eyes hollowed with a hurt he tried and failed to hide. Then he swallowed it, buried it. His spine straightened, his shoulders squared, his golden eyes hardened into something fierce and devastatingly alpha. He stepped forward. "Let's do this!" The air snapped, electric and sharp. Thunder cracked overhead. For one heartbeat, the forest waited. Then they lunged. Milan crashed into Farron with a fury born of fear, shame, and jealousy. Farron struck back with precision, cold, disciplined, a wolf raised for the crown. Mud splashed, claws tore earth, bodies collided with bone-deep force. I stood at the circle's edge, helpless, shaking, the vein simmering hot beneath my skin like a second heartbeat. Farron swept Milan's legs, slamming him into the mud. Milan rolled, lunged, roared. Each hit Farron landed felt like it struck something inside me. Each time Milan fell, he rose again. Faster, angrier, fighting like losing meant losing me. "Stop," I whispered, voice swallowed by thunder. Another clash. A snarl. Mud splitting. Farron pinned Milan, teeth hovering at his throat. Milan twisted, gaining the upper hand. "No!" The word ripped from me, raw, panicked, and something inside me ripped with it. Heat exploded beneath my skin. Silver blue light flashing up my arms, my chest, my eyes. The wolves froze. Farron froze. Milan felt it first. "Yasin, wait!" But it was too late. The vein surged outward in a pulse that hit the clearing like a shock wave. Soundless but heavy, shuddering through roots and bone and blood. The fight didn't just stop. I stopped it. Both wolves staggered back, forced apart by currents of shimmering air. The pack whimpered. Some knelt, some bowed, like they couldn't help it. Farron stared at me first, stunned, then fascinated, like my awakening had just rewritten something ancient inside him. Milan scrambled to his feet, chest heaving. "Yasin, are you okay?" I wasn't sure. The glow dimmed, flickering out like embers sinking into ash. I gasped, pulse racing, the world tilting sideways. And then it hit me. The pull. 2 of them. Milan's warmth tugged at me. Familiar, desperate, hopeful. But underneath it, quieter, colder, frighteningly steady, Varen. A tether I had never agreed to, a recognition I had never chosen, a gravity I couldn't deny. I staggered, breath catching. The force of it overwhelmed me. 2 threads tightening at once. 2 wolves watching, waiting, wanting in entirely different ways. Milan reached me first, hands hovering like touching me might shatter something fragile. "Please," he whispered. "I'm sorry. I should have told you everything. About the bond. About what it could cost you. About what it could cost us." Rain streaked down his face, washing mud from his jaw. His eyes were raw, stripped of pride, certainty, every mask he'd ever worn. "I only ever wanted to keep you alive," he said, "but I'll spend as long as it takes proving you can trust me again." He meant it. I felt the truth in the bond, its ache, its trembling hope, its wounded devotion. And yet, behind him, Varen stood utterly still, drenched in rain, silver eyes locked on mine. The pull between us throbbed like a second pulse, nothing like Milan's need. Varen's pull felt older, wiser, unavoidable. Not desperation, not desire, recognition. Raw, unflinching, ancient. 2 forces, 2 wolves, 2 futures I wasn't ready to face. For a long moment, I said nothing. Then I exhaled, shaky, aching. "Milan," I lifted my eyes to his. "I'm still hurt. I'm still angry. But I'll give you a chance. One chance." He swallowed sharply, relief and fear crashing together in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. He reached for my hand, slow, careful, reverent, and I let him take it. The pack exhaled as one, a ripple of approval moving through the circle like wind across tall grass. But when I turned automatically toward Varen, the place where he had stood was empty. He was gone, vanished into the rain without a sound. No boast, no warning, no goodbye. A strange ache tightened in my chest. Not longing exactly, but something quieter and deeper. A thread pulling tight in the absence of the one holding it. A memory of silver eyes and a hand I almost took. A connection the vein wasn't done revealing. Milan followed my gaze and nodded once, jaw tight. He won't give up, but we face him together now. Together. The words settled unevenly inside me, warm on one side, cold on the other. Because even as I nodded, even as Milan's fingers tightened around mine, steady and sure, I knew, deep down, honest in the place I didn't speak from, I hadn't made a choice, not truly, and I wasn't sure if I could. Not with the vein humming under my skin, not with 2 wolves bound to my fate, not with the world shifting because of what I had just unleashed. But for now, I chose the wolf who stayed. His fingers tightened around mine, and the pack bowed as one. Thank you for listening to Yasin's story, her rise from forgotten girl to Veinborn fire, caught between 2 wolves who would tear the world apart to claim her fate. If her journey pulled you into the storm and left your heart tangled in those silver threads, please like and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Share this tale with anyone who craves dangerous bonds, ancient power, and love sharp enough to change destiny itself. And stay close, because next week brings part 2, the final breathtaking conclusion to her story. Until then, may the moon guide your choices, and may your own wild heart lead you exactly where you're meant to be.